So I'll give you a full analysis of the budget at the end of the video, but right now I'm going to go accommodation, and I'm going to show what it costs for the accommodation in Vietnam and Thailand and then Malaysia in one chart so you can make a comparison subject by subject, and then at the end give a total price for all three of these countries. So here's the chart of the accommodation prices for all three countries. As you can see, Vietnam is the cheapest. Thailand comes in second, and Malaysia is by far the more expensive place for accommodation. Now here's the chart for food in each of the countries. Once again, Vietnam kills it. The food is great in Vietnam, very healthy. I lost like 25 pounds my 1 year there. Thailand, the food is excellent. I gained back 5 or 10 pounds when I was there. And Malaysia, you know, it's on par with Thailand, I'd say. There's expensive places in all of these countries. You can go to high-end restaurants and pay, you know, American prices. But, you know, I ate local most of the time in all three of these countries. So next up, the cost of getting around varies widely, you know, according to what mode of transportation you're choosing. I took the bus in all of these places. I rented a car in Thailand for $250 a month. I rented a car here in Malaysia for $500 a month. So, you know, it just depends on, you know, how patient you are to look around to find the great deal. You can find, you know, a better deal, I'm sure, than the $500 I'm paying now. But, you know, and buying a car in Malaysia would have been one choice. But then, you know, apparently this car that I have would have been like only twice as much as my monthly payment on it. So, but then you'd have to get insurance, you have to register it, you have to do all this stuff. So, you know, getting a temporary deal was my choice. In Vietnam, you cannot drive your own car. And you can't rent a car. So you're subject to using Grab, which is the Uber of Asia, which is very, very cheap. You know, between $1 and $2 to get around the city in Saigon and Da Nang. It was the norm of the course. And dining out in these three countries, you know, it's pretty comparable, really. You can find expensive food, you can find cheap food. I'd say Vietnam still kills it, you know, for $1 or $2. Great meals, full meals, excellent food. Com tam, one of my favorite meals, was this marinated pork and rice with an egg and this little omeletto kind of piece of food. It was really, really great food, man. I really love that choice. There are a lot of really cheap $1, $2 choices in Vietnam. In Thailand, you know, $2 to $3 choices all over the place. And in Malaysia, about the same as Thailand. And as I say, in all these places you can find expensive food on American prices. I had one hamburger the whole time I was in Vietnam. I totally ate just local food. This is what I usually do in any country that I'm in. So buying food for cooking, I love living next to a local market in Da Nang. I live right around the corner from a wet market where you get really cheap food. I was cooking a little bit there. When I first got to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, I was cooking all the time. I had a couple of decent kitchens in a couple of places that I stayed, so I bought the local produce, bought the local meat for really cheap, excellent prices, and you know, you get like 5 pounds of chicken for like $4. I mean, it was really great prices there. I like to cook my own food. After being in Da Nang for the first month, I didn't cook anymore because the local food, great local food right in my neighborhood. In Malaysia, I haven't cooked at all. Well, I make breakfast here. So the cost of food to buy doesn't vary that much, I think, between these three countries. Okay, entertainment. Well, my first month in Saigon, I was going out all the time, man, going kind of crazy, going down to Bui Vin, the entertainment street. I found my local favorite bar called TNR Saigon. I went there 2 or 3 times a week when I first got there. So, you know, you go a little bit crazy when you leave the United States at first. So entertainment I was spending a fair amount of money. I would go to this one club once in a while. But now I go out like on a Friday night. I don't really go out during weekdays. You just save it all for one day. Entertainment costs are going to vary for you, of course. You can spend hundreds of dollars a month, or you can spend $60 or $70 a month. Oh, let's cover services, services that you need for your personal needs, like haircuts and nails and that kind of stuff. The choices in Vietnam were plentiful. Every other block there was a nail place or a haircut place. A little bit less common in Thailand, but you could find them, in every little neighborhood. A little bit less common here in Malaysia, and 3 or 4 times more expensive here in Malaysia. I was getting a haircut in Vietnam for like $4, and a haircut here is like $30. So, I mean, it's really ridiculously expensive. Also, nails, getting your nails done in Vietnam or Thailand, $3 or $4. Getting your nails done here, $30 if you want to do both your manicure and pedicure. That's a huge difference in services here. The economy is different here. It's a different kind of place. So that's the comparison there. One of the services that I use here quite often in Asia are massages. There's a big difference between massages here in every country, in Vietnam, in Thailand, in Malaysia here. Some of the best massages I've had are in Malaysia. The traditional Malaysian massage is fantastic. They work on all the meridians. They open up your body, man. It's a really refreshing experience, but it's expensive. It's $35 for an hour and a half, which is my normal time period that I get a massage. But in Vietnam, massages are cheap, $4, $6, $7, depending on where you go. And excellent massages also. Massages in Thailand, of course, well known for their massages there, so about the same price, $4 to $7 for a massage there. It's something that you'll see in my budget if you take a look at the budget tracker that I can send you. If you leave a comment and ask for the budget tracker, I'll send it right out. And I'll give you a budget tracker for each of those countries, for Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia. You'll see that, around $200 every month I'm spending on massages. So, every 3 days or so I'm getting a massage. It's one of the great pleasures of living here in Asia. When I get back to Saigon in a couple of weeks, I'll be getting some more good massages in Vietnam. When I left the United States in 2022, September 2022, I sold everything. I pared everything down to one large suitcase, one medium suitcase, and a backpack. I left the room and I had no keys on me, flying away with no keys. This is a symbol of freedom for me. Really enjoyed that. I have some keys now. I have a car rental and I have an apartment keys. But for a long time there, no darn keys. Freedom! By the way, hey, please subscribe to the channel. Become a member. Support me with the little money icon down at the bottom there. Send a couple of dollars. Any money that I receive, I am going to use for a local charity here. I've already picked out the charity. Here's the charity name. I don't make any money so far on YouTube, even though I've been doing it for 3 years. So, give some money to a good cause. So let's cover clothing and accessories. I don't spend very much. I have the same clothing that I bought with me 3 years ago. I haven't really bought anything. I bought a swimsuit, that's about all. I don't spend much money on clothes. I think I put down like $10 a month on clothes. Accessories, little sundry things that you need, another $10 a month, sometimes less, sometimes not at all. It's not a huge expense, and there's not a huge difference between any of the 3 countries. And entertainment, I don't do a lot of entertainment stuff. I've been dying to go to some sporting events, but I just haven't done it in any of these countries in 3 years. But I will do it. But I think that the price differences between the 3 countries for entertainment, there's high-end entertainment and there's low-end entertainment. Used to go to this little club in Vietnam where, they had dancers and singing and events and stuff. And, I'd spend $20 when I went there. So entertainment costs are pretty much the same in all these countries, probably a little bit more in Malaysia, but comparable. So here's a still of the cover of my ebook. It's available on Barnes & Noble for $2.99. Get it, man. It's got a lot of links in it to a lot of the things that I've done here, places to go, things to see, conveniences, Grab, the Uber of Asia. There's a link in there. Tons of links, a little bit about my background, why I did this and where I've been. I wrote it about a month ago before I came to Malaysia, but I'll do an update. It's a great book. I really recommend it. Check it out. Health insurance. It's a really important thing for expats and people like me, 67 years old. You want to be covered for stuff. At first I had Safety Wing for 1 year while I was in Vietnam. And then I realized that, they don't cover pre-existing conditions, they don't cover cancer, they don't cover a lot of stuff. So I ended up getting Cigna International Health. It's a great program that costs us 3 times as much. The cost is, I'm now paying $340 or so per month. Totally worth it though, because it really covers you anywhere you go for a short period of time. Even if you're registered in one country, if you're in another country, they'll still cover emergency services and all these things. So I totally recommend Cigna International Health. It's a great program. Sightseeing in Asia. I don't do organized tours. I roam around myself. I do research. I'm like a research guy. I research stuff before I go, and then I take a look at stuff. I've been to a few museums. When I was in Cambodia, visiting Cambodia, I went to the museums there. I went to the Killing Fields Museum. Stood there and cried. I mean, what a devastating episode in life that was. So it's interesting. I need to go to more museums and things. I tend to try to save things for later, maybe when my kids come to visit. I didn't go even to the War Museum in Ho Chi Minh City, but when I go back, I'll go regardless of whether I have a family member with me or not. It's worthwhile. Taxes. It's an interesting subject. It's in big flux right now in Thailand. They can't decide what's going on. There are several different administrations. The government there is a bit unstable. They're making decisions one by one, changing stuff. Get a tax advisor if you move to Thailand. I'm staying away from Thailand right now because they're just unsure about what they're going to charge people. Now they've come up with a plan. They want to charge people with any money that they bring into the country from another country. So, I'm not interested in that. I don't really pay a lot of taxes. Social Security, I don't pay taxes on, and then my pension is quite small. So the tax liability there is very minimal. I get flamed when I put out my budget sometimes because I don't include taxes, but I'll include taxes in this one so you can see, what's going on there. I want to briefly talk about time management when you're retired. It's important, I think, to have a goal when you retire, something to do, something to enrich yourself, maybe enrich the populace that you're living with. It's a very important thing for me. I do fundraiser stuff, and I don't drink during the day like you'll see in Thailand all the time, bars that are open at 9 a.m., drinking big bottles of Tiger beer. I stick to my routine. I wake up every morning, look at the news, and then I have some coffee at a local restaurant, usually make breakfast for myself at home, some eggs and toast. And my life is very normal here. It's not a big party. It's really, don't change your ways, man. Stick to your morals, stick to your routines, and, just be a good person. Yeah, so let's talk about language, different countries and the different capabilities of language of my own. I speak a little tiny bit of Chinese. Chinese is used here a lot in Malaysia. I learned a little bit of Vietnamese. The most important thing, I think, is to be polite. You can refer to people as auntie or an uncle, and maybe learn a couple of food choice names. In Thailand, kind of the same thing, although I don't know how to count in Thai. But I can say "Mot Hai Ba Yo," which is the cheers in, it's a 1, 2, 3, go. In Thailand, that's you're celebrating drinking with people. And you'll hear it, you go to a place where they're serving some beers, and there'll be a table of 15 people, and every 3 minutes, you'll hear the yell, "Mot Hai Ba Yo," and a lot of times I'll go right up to the group and I'll bring my beer over and I'll cheers them, "Mot Hai Ba Yo." It makes it fun. And respecting local culture is super important to me, and makes things easier on you when you are in a foreign country. So be humble, blend in, meet people. It's the best. So here's a look at the cost of air flights here in Asia. One of the reasons why I stick to these big cities is because the airports go anywhere, and for $100 to $200, $300 at the most, you get to a new country real fast, there and back. So that's one of the big advantages of living in Asia. Check out other countries. When you need to do a visa run, which is every 90 days now in Vietnam, every 90 days here in Malaysia. It makes it really easy. You can see another place, get your renewed 90-day visa, Be on your way. I did get a 1-year visa, retirement visa in Thailand when I was there. I had a driver's license there, had a bank account. Things have changed now. It's not as easy to do all those things now. But that was really cool. When I was in Chiang Mai, it was a drive-through immigration stop. So you could just do all the paperwork, drive up, give the guy, the cost of the new visa, and he stamps it, and you're in and out of there in 2 minutes, 3 minutes if there's a line of cars. So, yeah, Chiang Mai in Thailand at the time when I was there, which was 2 years ago, it was really easy. In Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, the easiest way to renew your visa was to get on a bus and go to the Cambodian border. Now it's a little bit more difficult. At the time when I was living there, you could apply for a new visa while in country. Now you must apply out of country. I tried it with a VPN, it doesn't work. They see right through that stuff. So now you got to go to a new country to renew your 90-day visa. And the visa process is 3 working days, but there's holidays that you won't even know about that may extend that. So now when I go to a new country, I stay for a week. I leave on a Sunday, I apply on the Monday, and then I leave on the Friday or Saturday, and by that time the visa's done. There's a big advantage in reading and pronouncing language in both Vietnam and Malaysia. They all use the same alphabet that we do. So what I did when I first got to Saigon was I learned how to pronounce the different words, the different inflections, and then when I would look at a sign, I could pretty much pronounce anything from a sign. Not the same here in Malaysia. I don't really have that language skill here. But it was very beneficial to, the first thing you want to do when you try to learn a language is learn what all the little tick marks are when it's an up, the cho, and it's down cho, and when it's nothing, it's cho. Here in Malaysia, I'm on a 90-day visa on entry, so I didn't even have to make an application. Just when I arrived at the airport, I did the requisite forms that you had to do online, and they didn't even check anything when I walked through. I just gave them my passport, and they just let me through. So yeah, Malaysia's pretty easy for getting here for a 90-day stay. Here is the final compilation of all these different costs in these different countries. It's very interesting. Vietnam totally wins, and Malaysia is by far much more expensive than any other place that I've lived in. It's very interesting. Take into account these things before you decide to make that big move, leave the United States of America like I did.